Summer's only just started, but we are looking ahead this morning to Christmas telly.
What?
Yeah, apparently, so it says. There's going to be a new Wallace and Gromit, of course. Gavin and Stacey have got that big finale. Outnumbered as well. It's lots of different programmes, lots of different films as well, because they are remaking the 80s hit Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep, film and TV producers seem to be cashing in on our nostalgia by revisiting some of our old favourites. Let's take a look.
Let me guess. Foley.
Did you say Foley? Foley! We stole a helicopter!
I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea. He shot my rotor off!
You know, this is very embarrassing.
You know, part of me rather get locked up than get put in this little Fisher-Price-looking squad car.
What do you want to be when you're 40?
Am I allowed to say rich? What about you?
I want to do something that actually makes a difference.
False IDs, bank letters. What's going on, Tom? You crazy?
She's taking a very considered approach. Tactical, this. Stopping and starting. Scoring two. This is going to take some doing.
Well, we're joined now by TV critic Scott Bryan. Lovely to have you with us as ever, Scott. So we've got a couple of things going on here. We've got the nostalgia kind of remakes. We've also got sequels. And this one, I didn't know that the world needed another Beverly Hills Cop, but apparently we do.
I mean, this has been in development for quite a few years now, this new Beverly Hills Cop film. The original film was out in 1984. It managed to get about $700 million in the box office, so an absolutely huge hit, even beating Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Ghostbusters. There was then two sequels. There hasn't really been a film since 1994. I think it was going to be a matter of sort of if, so when, not if. I think just primarily down to the fact that it's a very watchable film. It also, I think, spawned the genre of the buddy cop film, a mixture between comedy and action. So, of course, Netflix has taken it on. But you're very right, Rachel. This really does feel to be the era of revivals, sequels, or just sort of digging through the archives to see what they can bring up again. Like, for example, if you look at the TV schedules for Christmas in 2008, you would have seen Wallace and Gromit, Doctor Who, Outnumbered, and Gavin and Stacey. And then, of course, if you're looking at the Christmas TV listings for this year, you've got Wallace and Gromit, Doctor Who, Outnumbered, and Gavin and Stacey again.
Not good ideas anymore.
Well, I mean, I think, that could be the opinion of some. I think it's also the fact that we seem to be living in an era of nostalgia that is really bankable in terms of people coming back and watching them. I mean, Gavin and Stacey hardly needs an introduction because more than 18 million people watched that Christmas special. And I think it's actually a product of the streaming age in which millions more people are perhaps watching the original series in the years since it had aired. Of course, Gavin and Stacey was a big hit in the noughties, but then was repeated and available on streaming services in the early 2010s. So by the time a new episode comes out, it actually brings millions of more people back to it. And it's the same case really with Outnumbered too. I mean, this was a semi-improvisational sort of sitcom, had a lot of child stars. Then I think it's become a bit like 7 Up, in which essentially now with the kids now grown up, it has the opportunity for the filmmakers and the comedy writers to go back and actually revisit the family again, see how they how they're getting on, and then that provides, I think, another opportunity for a 30-minute show.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because we watched that first time round as a family when the kids were about the same age as the children in the original series, and now I'll have kind of older teenagers and we'll be watching these children in their 20s. But just going back to Beverly Hills Cop, Scott, because that's out quite soon, actually. That's out at the beginning of next month. And you talk about improvisation there. So much of what was so good about the early films was all driven by Eddie Murphy and his just ability to make it up on the go. And I think there will be an element of that in this new one as well.
You're exactly right. I think a lot of the key scenes in this film were also improvised on the spot. I mean, Eddie Murphy is, of course, amazing with his comic timing. I think it's also just for Netflix a really big opportunity because, of course, this would normally be a film that would be released in cinemas. But since 2019, Netflix announced that it would be part of their own and that it would be available on their streaming service. And I think it's partially to help boost their film arm. They're very known, of course, for TV shows, big TV landmark series, but it's been in recent years they're trying to make sure that the films have as much big impact, maybe make people subscribe to their streaming services. And then, of course, who bigger than getting Eddie Murphy in one of the most well-known films of the 1980s attached to it. So, of course, be interesting to see how well it will be a success. And there's already talk about having a Beverly Hills 5.
Wow.
I wonder if it's got the same theme tune. I bet it has.
Yeah, I think Axel F features
Bit of 80s
heavily.
music, definitely.
That is a throwback. Harold Faltermeyer.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Scott. And it's an excuse to go back and watch the first three as well in preparation for the fourth, so I'm looking forward to it.